today is Mai Bui, co-founder and CEO of Quarter20, a cloud-based AI-powered platform that automates and modernizes hardware documentation workflows. In other words, a wiki for mechanical design. Mai has a Master's of Science in Mechanical Engineering from Stanford, as well as a degree from UCLA's Business School. She has held engineering roles at SpaceX, Tesla, and Motors, experiencing firsthand the frustration of hardware and manufacturing operations. Purpose of this show, Mai, is to go more into depth in emerging technology. The podcast is called Future of Design and Engineering Software. Really, it's all about what CAD design and simulation ought to be, not what it is now. You guys seem to be perfect for that role because I might represent the old school. I'm thinking people like you are the new school.
I'm excited to chat. I have SolidWorks pulled up on my computer right now. SolidWorks in the UX is not updated in the 10, 15 years that I've used SolidWorks, yet it's still the tool that absolutely every engineer uses. So I'm excited to be part of the forefront of building new tools for hardware engineering teams. I'm excited to be a part of just how much innovation is going on in the CAD and the hardware space.
I'm looking at your background and it's very impressive. You went to school at Stanford, master's in mechanical.
Yep.
You state that you had a little bit of frustration using these design tools or just in the process that's used for design in industry. And that's what led to Quarter20?
It's almost like the boiling frog problem, where if you put a frog in boiling water, you don't notice that the temperature is just rising and rising until you're dead.
Story. I used that in my first editorial, boiled frog. That was 37 years ago. It still holds though, right?
Exactly. It's not as if I go in every day saying, oh, I hate the tools that we use right now. It's just that every single day you go into work and you say, oh, SolidWorks crashed again. I guess I'm going to go and take a coffee break. Or, oh, I guess I need to put together another design review deck. Let me just sit at my desk, put in my headphones, wait for 2 hours to take screenshots of CAD and put that into a PowerPoint deck, only for me to get to the design review, have no one look at the spreadsheet or the PowerPoint deck. The state of where we're at right now isn't that the system doesn't work. It works. It just doesn't serve teams. And so when you're looking at hardware companies that are getting impacted by tariffs, that are looking for ways to get to production more effectively, more cheaply, you need to find ways to innovate in terms of how they can just build better processes.
Computer-aided design is kind of a misnomer. The computer is not aiding me in my design at all. I'm waiting for that to happen. I think AI is going to put computer-aided into design. That's what I'm hoping for. I hope it happens in my lifetime. I'm sure it'll happen in yours. So tell me what you're doing. You're using AI somewhat, right? Or exclusively?
Yeah, so what we're building is a tool to automate the process of creating CAD-based documentation. We call ourselves the CAD-connected wiki for hardware. And I think AI kind of just is this all-encompassing word that people kind of throw around. Really what we want to do is we want to automate the manual processes that people do to document their work. If you look at the problems that plague manufacturing teams, engineering teams, rarely was it, hey, we didn't know how to design a part, or we didn't think about the various forms of analyses we need to run on it. Really what people are struggling with is, I made a design change. How do I communicate this design change to the 20 different stakeholders that are involved? How do I communicate it to my manufacturers, my technicians, my coworkers, the supply chain team, etc.? So we're trying to streamline that communication and really building this central knowledge repository for engineering teams.
Quarter20 aims to increase the communication and collaboration for teams. Right now, we're doing it through PowerPoints, screen captures, and Word documents. How is your process different? Are you prepared to demo this, by the way?
Yeah, I'm very happy to show a demo.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Everything that you said is what the state of the norm is right now. Let's build up these documents that we will pretend to take very carefully. And then when that review has happened, we just ignore that these documents exist, and ultimately knowledge goes to die as the information leaves people's heads because it's just really difficult to use. The product that we're starting with is a work instructions tool to automate the knowledge handoff from design teams to manufacturing teams. And what we do is we're CAD connected. So as you said, the state of the norm right now is to use these legacy tools. It's to use PowerPoint, it's to use snipping tool, it's to use Excel, it's to use Word. And the problem with that is It's really easy to create a document once, but every time that you need to make a change to it, you have to manually update the images, parts, quantity, etc. The ramifications of you not doing that is the technician doesn't assemble the product correctly, it goes into the field, and then there's a recall. Or there is a major issue with your plane that causes the wing flap to fall off. These are real consequences that happen due to poor design communication and poor collaboration between the design and the manufacturing teams. What we do is build a CAD-connected space for you to automatically push your CAD from, for example, SolidWorks into Quarter20 and build up your documentation from that. And as the design change, your documentation will update as well. And because we also have a platform for folks to operate off of the documents, you can ensure that your technicians are able to operate off of the correct documentation. So really, we're streamlining the information across multiple teams, across multiple stakeholders to really have a connected flow of information across the entire product development cycle.
So connected flow of information. I like the way you said that earlier, where information doesn't go to die, right?
Yeah.
You can use your existing tools like Word or PowerPoint or whatever I have. Does existing tools include SolidWorks or whatever CAD program you're using? Quarter20 just sort of works in parallel.
It works in parallel with CAD. What we're trying to replace is the PowerPoints of the world and manually typing out your documents, taking screenshots for your documents. We want to make sure that we use CAD as that source of truth to drive documentation. And so we have a connection to CAD. As CAD updates, you can automatically maintain your documents.
So you are replacing Word and PowerPoint then. Like I can get rid of Office.
I don't think anyone has ever said Office really serves me. That's why you have so many companies building billion-dollar businesses to replace generic Office tools, whether it be Notion, Airtable, or the numerous other companies that are trying to Confluence, Atlassian, the numerous tools built to replace just how antiquated it is to just build a doc for these workflows.
You might add to that even email and Slack, like those tools are also used to spread engineering information, and they're not really built for it either.
No, and if you think about the corollary of software engineering, the reason why software engineering is it's easier to build a software and launch a software product than a hardware product. One of the reasons why software engineering really sings is because of all the connectivity between different spaces, right? You have the ability to plan your sprints in Jira, but you're able to connect Jira to your code base and you're able to connect it to GitHub. You're able to connect it to Sentry for you to do error tracking if there are issues that come up in your staged environment or your production environment. You can link it to Slack. All of these different tools are linked and connected together. If you think about the hardware stack, you have SolidWorks in this nice little silo that sits by itself for CAD. You have PLM that kind of talks to SolidWorks. And then you have your PowerPoint, you have your Word, and you have your Google Drive, and you have your Confluence. And they all sit in different places and they don't connect together. So what we're trying to build is a tool that can help link these different aspects together to build a more connected ecosystem.
Now, you're talking about connections that a person would have with all these different tools, but does what you're saying in principle also apply to different individuals?
If you think about Slack, it's not like every person has their own individual Slack. It's that you have a connected workspace of Slack. You're thinking about Jira. It's not everyone has their own Jira, but rather it's a connected database of tickets that we're all working off of together. So when you're thinking of Quarter20, you're similarly thinking of this connected database of documents that everyone can reference and learn from.
Quarter20 just makes me think of Quarter20 nuts and bolts screws, right? Is that what the name came from, or am I missing something?
You 100% nailed it. My co-founder Addie and I, what really instigated us to want to start Quarter20, sort of the why now moment, is I had come from a background in hardware, had spent years in SolidWorks cursing that it was crashing, years building up PowerPoint decks, etc. And my co-founder Addie had spent most of her career launching sort of on the product side for hardware products and AR/VR products. And when we were in business school, we met at UC Andrews. When we were in business school, it was COVID. So we were just sitting around thinking about kind of like, how is the world going to change? And especially how is the world of hardware going to change as a result of COVID and having more streamlined tools to connect teams. And something that we just saw again and again in the news was, oh, there was this one recall because of a missing torque value. There was this one recall because there was an improperly spec'd Loctite that caused screws to back out. It was ironic that a Boeing vehicle to fail or a Rivian vehicle to fail is one teeny tiny screw. So kind of in jest, we named our company after the lowly screw. So we named it Quarter20.
I was wondering why you didn't go metric.
Yeah, M6 has much less of a fun ring to it.
Thank you for that. Now, you mentioned Wiki at one point. This is very crucial to what you're creating, the whole idea of Wiki, like a Wikipedia. Could you tell me how specifically this Wiki technology or concept relates to Quarter20, how it's used?
Yeah, think about what is the core of Wikipedia. The core of Wikipedia is the ability to create multiple pages of documents, essentially, but they're all sorted one place, which means that they're infinitely interchangeable and referenceable within each other. And I thought you brought up a really good point about what is the focus of AI in Quarter20. That's where AI can really come into place. There's no one place where you can just say, hey, tell me all of the specs that we used for the last vehicle that we released. What are all the test plans that we released? It's stored across 20 different documents and it's all internal to your system. So what we're building at Quarter20 is a way to make that information modular and referenceable to really build up this knowledge repository of all forms of documentation within Quarter20. What really makes us powerful is being connected to data sources. We're starting with CAD as our primary data source and using that to drive the connectivity of information is what's really important to us.
So much like a wiki, anybody can contribute to it. Could you also install administration to it so there is some level of control at the top?
Yeah, that's ultimately where we're going. It's like
Okay.
being that Confluence replacement, that wiki replacement for Teams, but built for hardware. Where we're starting is very small and just managing one fleet of documents of work instructions, but already we're seeing a growing number of customers using us for field service guides, installation guides, or troubleshooting manuals, things of that sort.
You have customers. That's
Yeah,
pretty good for a
it's
startup.
it's really exciting right
Yeah.
now to
Yeah.
be in our position because we're seeing the forefront of innovation for hardware teams and hardware companies. We have a number of companies building some of the coolest technology you can imagine. We have a customer building an automated tomato picker. We have a customer building a robotic farm. We have a customer building an automated lawn mower. We're working with a medical device company. These folks are really, really pushing the boundary of what it takes to be building hardware. And they're all startups, which is really cool. The barrier to entry for startups to build products has dramatically decreased in the last 10 years, and there are more and more hardware companies that are getting off the ground. But what's really slowing them down is all the administrative work that doesn't go away just because they're a small company. And we can really lower the barrier for these teams to get into production and get their products out in the market. It's just been so exciting to be a part of the innovation going on in the hardware.
So this tomato picker and the other companies, they're paying customers. You actually have paying customers. So you're not just living off investor money anymore.
No, and that's ultimately the goal, right? The goal is to drive change for hardware and hardware teams. And for us, it's very much the goal to make sure that we are solving the needs of our customers. We are really excited. We're primarily focused on industrial robotics right now as our primary customer base. A lot of the folks that I talked about are in that space.
And agricultural, I guess.
Agricultural robotics. Yeah, it's like kind of a broad category, if you will. It's kind of like if you're building robots, it kind of lumps into that category. We have a growing number of folks reaching out to us in aerospace, defense, medical device companies, automotive. We're excited about being able to serve this growing need. What separates a tomato picker company from an electric airplane company is not that much when it comes to how they design, how they communicate amongst teams. We can build this agnostic tool to best serve the hardware landscape.
How old is this startup?
We're just under 2 years old. We just launched our product at the beginning of this year in February. So we're a little under 7 months in the market, and it's been really exciting seeing the company grow, our customers grow. And it's also been really exciting to see them all move from early design phases into production, into building their second product, etc.
You started this with your partner, Addie, first, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and you're by yourself now. You must be incredibly busy, aren't you? Isn't she out of commission for a bit?
She's on leave right now, but she is still a part of the team. We have a great team as well. We have Mark, our head of engineering, who's really spearheading the engineering effort. We have two great front-end engineers, Paul and Ennie, who are super invaluable in order to help us really crack this really complicated landscape of not only data, but also CAD. We're dealing with customers and their products that are big people are putting their entire machines into Quarter20, and we're able to render that. We're able to be performant, build documentation off of that, etc. So it's been really cool seeing our engineering team step up to the challenge and build this robust product for these industrial scenarios.
You're definitely solving a need, that's for sure. I'm glad to hear you already got customers. It's unusual. How are you getting the word out besides talking to people like me here?
We really enjoy going to conferences, especially conferences that really focus on hardware and innovation that's happening in hardware. Some of the conferences that we've been to in the past year or so has been the Boston Robotics Summit. Highly recommend for folks to go to the Boston Robotics Summit. There are a number of fabulous companies that attend that conference and building really cool things. We also enjoy going to Automate in the Midwest. Conferences has been a really great way to meet customers and folks. Honestly, LinkedIn is another really great place to meet folks. There's a number of growing people on LinkedIn, that hardware gurus, hardware experts that are building a presence on LinkedIn. It's really fun to be tapped into that community. So really there's a lot of very cool information that's getting disseminated across LinkedIn when it comes to hardware and what it takes to build hardware, and highly recommend folks be tapped into that network.
Sounds like smart marketing. Most technical companies, especially in the early stages, are the mentality that you build a better mousetrap and the world will be the path to the door. That's what they think, especially true of companies that are not in the US. They think, oh, we've got a great product. We don't need marketing.
Look, I'm an engineer, and I've worked at a number of startups in which engineers have the exact same mentality, which is all we need to do is build a great product, and then
Yeah.
everyone will use it. And that
Yeah.
works approximately 0% of the time. The best companies that I've ever worked at, the ones that are the most successful, always have a great sales engine, have a great marketing engine. And ultimately, it's really important because that is what helps people understand what their problems are. As I said, this system that we're fixing, it's functional. It's not great, but it works. You can still get products out there into the market. You're just much less efficient about it. And so if you're not aware that this is a major problem, as everyone is trying to cost down more effectively, more efficiently get into market with the capital that they do have, it's really important for them to take a good look at where are the inefficiencies in their process and how can you help improve that. And so really what we're providing is a tool that enables teams to be able to see where these inefficiencies lie, because they don't realize I have an engineer that's building work instructions and he's spending about half of his time doing that. How much are you paying that engineer? How much more could they be doing with their time if they weren't doing that?
In a nice way, tell them they are being boiled. And they realize, oh, we do have a problem. I'm always reminded of the most successful companies. After their initial success, marketing made them really successful. Autodesk, for example, it's a great company. In the beginning, nobody had PC-based CAD. I wouldn't say it's technically a great product. It was adequate, but great timing. They had initial success. Didn't get to be $1 billion company, though, till Carol Bartz came in with sales and marketing. So, and SolidWorks, again, great initial success. I mean, they filled a great need. They were price differentiated with Pro E, right? So that gave them a lot of success. But it was, again, it was marketing that put them. John Clancy, I'll credit him. He was their CMO before he became CEO. And he just used marketing. He would hammer people at trade shows. He had a name for it. Mainstream. Before SolidWorks, nobody knew what mainstream CAD was. And he hammered people, including me, on what mainstream was until, hey, I finally got it. We are boiling. The temperature is rising. This mainstream needs to happen, right? Anyhow, I need to see your product. Could you do a little demo for us?
I'll show you what we're building. What we have at Quarter20 is a way to create CAD-based documentation really easily. And not only is it really important to have a product that works, it's important to have a product that is just easy to understand, right? If we're thinking about communication, the best communication happens if it's obvious what you're trying to interpret. That's why IKEA instructions work. It's unambiguous what you are looking at. If you look at work instructions that go from design teams to manufacturing teams, most of the time they're ambiguous because it's engineers that are putting them together. And so really what we want to build at Quarter20 is the ability to build out documentation that is beautiful, documentation that can maintain itself and update itself, and really just build this easy platform for folks to be able to build out their documentation and execute off of their documentation. But what's really powerful about our system is just how connected it is. For example, if I wanted to go in, reorder some parts, all I have to do is go in, say that this part was assembled first and now this part is assembled. If I wanted to rearrange the order of parts and how they're assembled, all I have to do is click and drag, and then these images will update to reflect that latest version of CAD. So you can see that these images are updating updating here, and similarly in the document, the images are updating here. And so really what we've created has been this really simple tool for folks to be able to update, maintain their documentation. It's all connected to CAD. You can see that you can update CAD here. We also have plugins available for Onshape and SolidWorks, and we have automations that we can build for Creo and NX as well. We can really minimize the barrier that it takes for you to push CAD into Quarter20, build documentation off of CAD, and have it be a seamless way for you to interact with it. This is just a really high level demo. Kind of just the two functionalities that I wanted to call out is our ability to go in and tag in parts. So this is really where the Wikipedia functionality comes in. You can see that I have this part here. You can see that that maps to a part that's in there. You can see that as I click on this part, it's tagged. I can link to it, and we're building up more functionality to search for documents that reference this part and really build up this knowledge repository for you and for teams. So what I'll do is show you how the product works. I've created a new operation step. If you go to the document page, you'll see that this page is empty for now. When I go back to my CAD view, all I have to do is add in the parts that I want to assemble into that step. Our product is, we make it really easy to manage your manufacturing BOM in addition to your engineering BOM. So previously there had been 2 green dots associated with those parts. Now that I've added in those parts, you can see that all information has automatically been filled in for me. The image has been filled in of the parts that are needed for this. A parts table has been generated with the parts needed, the quantity, the description, the revision. This is all seamlessly following the same template that you would need for the rest of the assembly. We've created a seamless process for teams to create and maintain their documentation.
Is everything you're showing me cloud-based?
Yes, everything I'm showing you is cloud-based, which has been really fun for some people to discover. One of our customers, I was talking to her and she was like, oh yeah, there was this one thing that I was seeing in terms of when I was typing because I was using the command key. I said, that's interesting because I mean, you're using a Mac. She said, yeah, I was using a Mac. I was like, how are you using a Mac for work? You use SolidWorks, you're a mechanical engineer. She's like, no, what I love about Quarter20 is before I left for the day, I just pushed my CAD file into Quarter20, and then I went home and I was able to pull up my account on my personal computer and continue working from home without having to lug my CAD laptop. What's been really great has been providing a cloud-based tool for folks to create their documentation. They don't have to bring their CAD laptops home to build work instructions. They can seamlessly build it alongside a technician on the shop floor or at home.
This is possible because you can seamlessly read SolidWorks files?
You push your SolidWorks file into it. We read through the entire structure and the assembly, and then you can build your documentation off of that.
I see. So for a while there, you have parallel duplicate.
So what we do is it's basically a push from SolidWorks into Quarter20. It's almost that save point in time. We do have automations that you can set up in order for you to say, hey, every evening when I sort of log off for the day, I can run an automation from SolidWorks for you to export into Quarter20. And so there's lots of things that you can do on the side if you would like. It's exciting to tap into these workflows that people didn't know could exist and build up fun automations.
An unintended benefit. You did not design it that way, right? But people are using it that way?
What's been really interesting has been the number of different ways that people are using the product. Different teams are using the product than we anticipated. People are using us for different functionality. Some people are using us for design reviews, even though we didn't intend for us to be used for design reviews. We're working with field service teams, even though we never intended for this to be a field service document tool to start. So it's been really exciting just to see the amount of ingenuity that we've unlocked. And really the focus for what unlocks these different people has been wanting to build a CAD-connected document. It's just so painful for people to go around chasing the mechanical engineers to have access to CAD, to take screenshots of CAD. Now all they have to do is push CAD to Quarter20 and everyone can build their documents off of that CAD file. And it's been a really powerful tool to connect teams together.
Are there limits like file size that you could display?
Honestly, this is what I'm most proud about for the team. As I mentioned, we have a great engineer named Ennie, and he's done a phenomenal job of being able to take in any CAD file and be able to render it. So we're really pushing AWS to its limits, but Ennie and Mark have done a phenomenal job of being able to take in really large CAD files and render them seamlessly on Quarter20. So what we say is if it can work in Onshape, it can work in Quarter20. We're really proud of the team for being able to handle that because it's not an easy problem. If you look at some of these files, they're 500 megabyte files, 700 megabyte files. People are building really complex products. It's been really cool how awesome the team has been in being able to tackle this really hard problem of being able to render in really complex CAD and have it still be performant.
Now you said CAD, not so it's more than just SolidWorks? You can handle
Yeah,
other
we can handle them.
files, Solid Edge, those. What can't you handle?
So we strictly work with 3D files. So anything that is a 3D file, we don't work with drawings. We don't work with sort of other forms of files. But, if you use NX, Creo, SolidWorks, Onshape, CATIA, we work with those. Most of our customers use SolidWorks, which is why we built our first integration with SolidWorks. We're seeing a growing number of people using Onshape, which is why we're starting to build more capabilities with our plugin. Those two are the biggest ones. Creo still has a chokehold on the East Coast, in my opinion. So a lot of our customers on the East Coast still use Creo. We're not seeing quite as much Creo on the West Coast here, but definitely on the East Coast.
Interesting that you say you're seeing more Onshape users. I was Shape because it's cloud-based and has built-in collaborative properties. Can do a lot of the thought of show and tell right from itself, right?
Yeah, so Onshape is really great for being able to collaborate on the design itself, but ultimately designs don't just live with mechanical engineers, and that's really the power that we've unlocked with Quarter20. It's a platform that is used to communicate. Documentation is a tool to communicate across teams, internal and external stakeholders and vendors. What we've seen to be really powerful is people using Quarter20 to say, or using Onshape to build up their CAD, build up their 2D drawings, but they still need to use Quarter20 in order to build up their work instructions, any design review decks they want to build up, any field service guides they want to build up, etc. The last thing I'll show is what people really care about, being able to not just create documentation, but also being a place where you can execute off the documentation.
Okay.
And that's something that's really important to our users. And so we have this mode called technician mode, where you can go in and you can operate off of any documents. All you need to do is put in your name, and we provide analytics for you and for your team. So we track how long each user is spending on each of these operation steps. We track any metrics that they want to track, if they needed to check anything, if they needed to put in any forms, we have all folks to do that. Also, they can leave comments, which is really powerful. What's really exciting has been we're giving more folks a voice when it comes to the manufacturing team, when it comes to the design team. I can go in, I can tag that Addie, we need to check the part stock of this part. And again, the same tagging that I had talked about works in the comments as well. I can tag in the same parts, I can tag in the same tools. As a result of being able to do that, now we're building up even more of that repository of what are the comments that are associated with a certain part, in addition to what are the different pages that are associated with it. So it's been really exciting to see how people have taken off with Quarter20 as a tool, not just for creating documentation, but also being able to execute off documentation. This has been valuable for folks to give a voice to their technicians and build more assemblable parts as a result.
So is that all of it?
That's all I wanted to show.
Cool, very cool. I'm glad I saw it. I'm also amazed by how versatile it is and how user-friendly it is. How expensive is it? What's your business model?
Yeah, so right now we do team-based licenses, and the pricing varies based on the size of the team. The standard package that we offer is centered around 5 editors and 10 technicians. That varies between 10 to 15K per year, depending on usage. We're happy to flex up or down for the number of users. And if there are any folks that reach out as a result of this podcast, let me know. You can mention Rupinder and I'll give you a discount, because I'm excited to promote more conversations for innovation and design. We're excited to chat.
I'd be happy to leave that in. That's great. I think this needs to get out. More people need to see it. You can only do so many demos yourself. You need to magnify this to a bigger audience, and I'll certainly help in my own little way to do that.
I appreciate that.
Thanks so much for spending your time with me. I thank you for being a guest on our show. Keep up the good work. A very important thing you're doing, and I'm glad to see something happening that'll actually put computer-aided into design.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been really fun.
All right. Thank you.